I'm a one-man shop and I want to add some extra man hours or leverage because I'm all by myself. Outsourcing can be a turnkey system today. Like, hey, I need some sourcing for just a couple hours. Turn it on for a month and then you can turn it off. One of the things we saw was our team was spending so much time and effort looking at resumes versus making calls out there. One of the things you see in today's economy is biz dev's a problem, right? Everyone's trying to get in front of clients. One of the things we're seeing a lot of people outsourcing today is appointment setting, because it is time consuming, right? You are spending hours a day of just calling, but you're not getting appointments, right? You can dial, I think the staffing was dial 100 times a day, and you're probably going to get 10 connections out of the day at best, and maybe one meeting, hopefully, right? It's a lot of time consuming as a business owner. So I think it's always good to, hey, look at your business, and where one of the other sides I see is time. If you're doing timekeeping attendance, collecting time cards is a pain in the butt, right? This is where we have, I see people on our staff, in our team, we have it is where we have an onboarding team and they're checking candidate. They're calling, hey, Brad, just want to let you know, today's your, end of the day. Please submit your hours so that we can make sure you get paid on time for next week. And come Monday, they look at the list and they're just reaching out, and it's a person versus an automation. I think that's the power of outsourcing. There is that difference. My business is functioning and this is a necessity. I don't expect someone to quote unquote move up in this role. This is where you outsource it. If you're choosing an offshore, this is where you need to find, understand what success looks like and make sure you can measure it. If you can't measure it and just have that interaction and liaison constantly, because it has to look like that team is your team in the US, right? It has to look like they're exactly the same. Don't treat them any different. They're just on the other side of the country. And that's hard for some people. And that management and metric. And once you find that partner that helps to be a liaison or help you with that, stick with it, and you're going to shine well in using an offshore business. Everyone's doing it. It's pretty amazing to watch that and just to have the impact in culture in the Philippines. But from a US standpoint, I'm a big advocate of using the outsourced talent, because I think using outsourcing doesn't mean, I'm losing people's jobs. I think that's what the biggest fear when they say, I'm going to outsource, you're going to take away American jobs. No, what we're doing is actually enhancing the American job to be more purposeful, more strategic. No one wants to, quote unquote, I hate to say it this way, do the grunt work, right? That's the part of it. And I think that's where this evolution of time is, where you can take a recruiter, be more strategic, be more impactful with the candidate experience, have your biz dev team focus on account management, building relationships, and using outsourcing as a function to enhance your ability. And I think from the Philippine side, they love the work. They are very task oriented. They feel the purpose that, wow, I get to work with a US organization. I get to be part of a culture that's both westernized and Philippines. And that's a pretty cool experience for anyone who's doing outsourcing. I think when you engulf that, it just changes everything. And the world is small. I think that's one of the funniest things now. The way technology is, it just makes it 10 times smaller. It's a combination of people and technology, right? I think one of the things I think outsourcing is going to elevate is, with being such the new thing, is how do I use AI, right? I think, I've sat in on your conversations, how do I prompt well, right? Some people are like, maybe this is not the skill that takes the time, but why don't I have a little, a outsourced marketing team? Hey, build me prompts to help us do email campaigns. Your time as an owner or executive of a staffing company is you can dictate these kind of things I want and let a team build that for you. And I think that's the part where I think that's AI and outsourcing is going to be a new combination, and it's going to be a powerful machine for the future of staffing. And when you look at an office, I don't think many people have been in an office where there's 100 staff, and it's mind-boggling to see a floor with just all this talent and camaraderie that's being built, right? And so I think from US to outsources, Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, whatever you're using, whatever you do at a day-to-day, they should be included, right? Any kind of team or stand-up meeting, bring them in on it. Bring them in on those conversations. Have them responsible for some of their KPIs and metrics that they have to report to. That starts like camaraderie. They get to see each other's face. They kind of, we use EOS, and so we do level 10s every week, and our team, the outsource team, is a part of the level 10s, and you start off with, personal best, business specs, and that connects so much just right there, right? Because got to hear about your personal life, and I heard about a success about business. That's the most easiest. The second is just when you do events. If you do an event in the US that lets we have EOS again, Q2 state of the company. We do that as a whole. And then we have a team event after, right? And so we do the same thing. Hey, even though you can't be with us here in the US, your team in the Philippines will also have a team event. And we try to intertwine that as much as possible. The Philippines loves events, to be fair. And so they constantly do things 10 times better than we do, in fairness. So I think it depends on the way your outsource model works. For us, we have multiple clients from the East Coast to Central to the Pacific Standard. So we are working graveyard shift in the Philippines. So it is roughly, I think today's time zone is 15-hour difference. And so it is, I call it the vampire schedule, right? You got to learn how to, if you're on the East Coast, you're in at 10 p.m. Philippine time so that you can have your level 10 with the East Coast representative or team that you're dealing with, or any client. I think there's the basis of how that business works, right? If it's client facing, you should always be on your time zone. I'm a big advocate of that, because that's the whole premise of outsourcing. Is it's an extension of my team, and they have the same email, have the same local dialing number. They know that I'm an extension of you, and that's the key of that. You have the other side of it where, hey, they're not client facing, they can work on Philippine day. Coordinate the schedule. So your level 10s are going to be late afternoon for you, early morning for them. And so it's a balance. It's all the balance of how your operation wants to work. Recruitment is the easiest, because we know today talent is hard to find. Start with a small project of, I need to build a talent pool for a client that may be ramping up, or I'm trying to do a re-engagement project. I want you to reach out to all of these camps we have not touched in the last 90 days. Very simple to start today. And that is easy to build a list. It's easy to intertwine to your ATS. Probably the simplest. If you're from a finance side, again, I think another easiest one is, hey, I need someone to just help with collections. That's cash is king today. And everyone's like, hey, as times are getting tougher, have someone just making calls on collections for you, and that saves your accounting and payables people 10 times more time in their day to do something else that's more impactful. The marketing stuff, like again, just the campaign, like email campaigns. I'm horrible. We're using HubSpot. I'm like, we need to do a sequence. Here's the new batch of talent we need to reach out to, or client base that we're focusing on for a certain territory. Here, can you build a campaign, build it all up with the pipeline? Saves you tons of time personally versus you doing it yourself. The culture, right? Their westernized culture and not understanding the Philippine culture is probably the biggest problem, where you assume the way I interact with someone who is in the US is actually not well received from an employee or a team member in the Philippines. And you as an American or offshore boss or something, you're their superior. So they'll never question you. And you want to give you want to teach them to be like, hey, I want you to be an active listener. I want you to have an opinion, and it's not heard of for them. You go, okay, think about this. Like, it's okay. You can make a mistake. You're okay to have the ability to go, I don't understand, or I did something wrong. That was the hardest start for me in the beginning. There was, boy, everyone's saying, I got it. I understand. Yeah. I understand how to do a search string. Oh, we just did a whole training on our ATS. I understand how I could do it by myself. And then next thing you know, 1 hour later, they're talking to a team member. I don't understand what he said.
Yeah.
The U.S. recruiter that we call him staffing manager would be, I would be able to get a live transfer. Hey, I got Adam on the phone. He's excited about looking to get a job as, a .NET developer or mechanical engineer, or, just go and have a conversation with the key recruiter on that. And it increased our bandwidth and our ability to go, wow, I don't have to source resumes and I've got good people to talk to every day. And that's the power I think people don't see, is like, the job is not to just look at resumes and screen. It's engagement. Engagement is what we're trying to find. I think of it, we're in this new age of AI, and everyone's scared they're going to take my job. The word is, this is a way of efficiency. This is taking how to use this as a team. This is like a normal team member in my office, but he's not there, or he or she is not in my office. They could be remote. We're in a world of remote hybrid work now. There really isn't a difference, right? The difference is now, hey, yes, they're in the Philippines. I'm not going to ever hide that we have team members in the Philippines. They're great people. And I think that's one of the things for us that we try to, I'm still big on the more of a in-office. So our model is 4 days in the office and the Friday they're work from home. And unless the client is really demanding that 5 days a week, we have clients that they're 5 days a week. And we give them infrastructure. We give them that ability to feel like, hey, they're not, when people think, oh, they're in the Philippines, are they in a hut? And I'm like, no, we're in the biggest outsourcing country in the world. We're number one in voice outsourcing. I've got, if I look outside my window in our office there, we've got, Amazon is there, Google's there, Uber is next to it. There is every large corporation, like, JP Morgan Chase is my favorite. Every time you call the bank, it's our neighbor. That's who's handling that call. So I think that's why the world is this isn't about where you're from. It's just being good people who want to find purpose and meaning in the job they do. And I believe our team believes in that. They're all servant leaders. We're all here just trying to help each other, right? Yeah. If I help you get a job, I'm helping myself, feed my family, and put a house over my head,
Yeah.
Big things, and maybe I go overboard. We have a thing we use, it's called Basecamp. Every time someone does something good, it is recognized as a whole as a company, and they get the shout out, and we do a monthly recognition. Hey, who's the top performers of the month? And it's not about making the most placements. And that's what I love about it. We don't build that off of it's about GP or money, because that's not, hey, how many people have you helped? What's our experience relationship we had with the candidates we place? What are the clients saying about that? It's all built around that client and candidate experience, and we recognize it monthly. Then we do a quarterly one. So we take all those winners and go, okay, who's the quarterly winners? And then we do, they get to do a president's dinner with me. And we go out, hey, we're going to go to a fancy dinner. Let's have, something you would never go on your own. And that recognition and that time to just feel appreciated and valued, it goes tenfold. Big believer, we're not the smartest people by ourselves, right? You have to use associations, you have to use coaches, you have to use consultants to come to educate. So we send teams to the CSP events, the ASA events. Sometimes we have virtual trainers from the US, the top class, train our staff in the Philippines, and they're going wow, I get to meet one of the top trainers, even if it's virtual, that I get to work side by, to do a 3-week training with them.
Yeah,
it is powerful. They're just it's so impressive, because what you hear is the peer-to-peer, hey, I'm being trained by another Filipino here, but then when you go, wow, look at this, is an expert in the staffing space, that just goes tenfold. And from an experience, just from the culture, again, I know most HR hate to hear it's this is a family. We're trying to build a family, and I know I'm holding that as hard as I can, because I know that gets harder to do as you get to bigger scales. And I'm okay, I'll fight that until the day that becomes a problem. But people work for you. They spend more time with you than they do with their own families. You're 8 hours in a day with you. and you get a couple hours with your family every day, and like, you got to treat them like family, and you got to treat that portion like, look, we're going to try to work together. And again, it's okay. It's nothing personal. Sometimes this is not the long-term fit. We understand that, but we know that, hey, look, we're going to try to create a home for you. You will be a continuous learner in our environment, and we will be pushing the limits. We will put you in out of your comfort zone, and it's your choice to decide if that's what I want to keep going or not.
Find out what you want to solve, right? As a staffing leader, if it's going to be about people, talent, if you find the community or the area that you feel it has a demand for talent, find that out. Then spend the time recruiting talent first. I think people go chase clients first. And I think today everyone says, I'm going to go find them as people. I think the new era of staffing today is, I have the talent who can fill your jobs, or my favorite is, I have the guy who can turn your machine on. I have the guy who's going to drill the hole for you. That is the value you're going to bring to your customer base.